Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna bring up Luke right away, and this is gonna be a casual because look at this, look at this. I was like waiting for someone to bring this up. You guys are so funny today. Oh my gosh. Okay, so context, Luke. When we had like a server restart and the game was gonna be down for a few minutes, I was just feeling a little unhinged, and I went in Discord and just like I started spamming at like my Grubkins, like rug, like all the usual stuff. And then
Yeah,
I started spamming a specific GIF that's like Pepe like passed the burrito down, and it's just like passing a burrito down. And I was like spamming it, and everyone was spamming it. And then I had to like go do actual work for a minute, like 2 minutes. I come back and someone had edited a version of my face, and then it was past the pixel down. Suddenly, it's just like my face past the pixel down being spammed in. Anyways, you guys are ridiculous. That was
yeah. The
really
memes have gotten really good as well. Say, like, they're funny. I love the Discord. The energy feels really good lately too.
yeah. Oh my god. No, the memes are hilarious, you guys. Anyways, okay.
Yeah. So
I guess
for
we can
this
get into
AMA,
it.
yeah, let's get into it. So for this AMA, it's going to be a little bit more chill. We're gonna try something new. What I actually want to do is I want to start to share you guys some more insights into the specifics of what we're building. That way, you guys can start to see what we're working on, what's still in progress, and what we plan on doing in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to switch up some of my messaging and strategy lately. I'm a really aggressive builder. If you follow Pixels for a long time, we set really aggressive deadlines and timelines sometimes, and sometimes we don't make them. But that's kind of my life
we don't
philosophy.
we don't do timelines publicly anymore.
Yeah, we're going to try to not do timelines anymore. But to make up for that, what we're going to do is we're going to show you what exactly we are working on. I'm literally pulling this from like some internal company stuff. I think when I do this, some people won't like this on the team even, but I think it's really good. We're kind of borrowing this from another team that we had saw where they kind of show a public Trello board of all the stuff that they're working on. They change it really often. I'm going to try this. Now, I'm going to show you guys these documents, but you have to kind of play nice with them too. So things change when you're building a startup, when you're building tech, and you're building out new stuff. So what we show you here, it could change, but this is the rough plan. You'll get to see what's in progress, what's being worked on. We're probably going to pull out some of the details from the actual like descriptions of what we're doing, but you'll get to see the kind of stuff that we're focused on first, basically. So at Pixels right now, where we're at is, I think the community energy has gotten a little bit more positive in the last week. We're thankful for that. A lot of it is maybe because we're getting a bit more involved in some of the day-to-day building, right? Where
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are so funny. Yes, Luke's
yeah,
always in a new place. We know.
yeah,
We
I
know.
struggle with staying in the same spot. I'm not gonna lie. I'm visiting some family right now, basically. I haven't seen them in a while, but yeah, essentially what we're going to start to do is, I had a realization this last week, basically, of how we build in public. I think for the last 4 to 6 weeks, how we've kind of been approaching building in public is maybe strayed from what we've done before, where I am starting to again realize and relearn. Sometimes you have to learn lessons more than once. That building in public does not just mean giving updates to you guys. If we are just telling you guys what we're doing, and we're not listening, and we're not involving you guys in the building process, then that's actually not building in public or building with public. And building in public has been one of the biggest superpowers of Pixels. And I think of Web3 gaming too. I think that's the real big difference maker when you have ownership in an ecosystem, right? Like you are an active participant in how the ecosystem shapes out. And that actually is really fun. If you haven't been involved in an early stage startup before, some people actually prefer working at startups instead of big companies because of this energy. It's really fun to be at the start of something new and different, and something that's really big and something that could change an industry or change how things work. And that really is what all of you guys are doing by playing inside of Web3 right now. My take is a lot of you guys like earning and all of this, right? Like you guys like the aspects that Web3 gaming brings. But also, I do think a lot of you are in this community because you like being involved inside of how Web3 gaming is going to form and shape out. Like you guys are actually leaders in this industry. You guys are early adopters. You guys are blockchain enthusiasts typically. You guys are at least, if not blockchain enthusiasts, play to earn enthusiasts. You guys really care in a way that maybe people who come into Pixels in a year or two won't in the same way, right? So you guys get to kind of shape the future of what Web3 gaming in the industry looks like. And, that's actually a huge advantage for us if we take advantage of that. You guys actually quite often have really good ideas. You guys have really good feedback. You guys know what isn't working better than even people on the team, because you guys are in this even more than us, right? You guys are the ones that are grinding in Web3 in other projects more than even core team members, which is impressive to say the least. Like, you guys have built some really good, impressive skill sets, and we need to take advantage of that more. So that's going to be some of this AMA today too. We kind of want to take you a bit more into the details of the things that we're working on, show you guys, this is the feedback that we've heard from you. These are the ways that we're going to start addressing it. This is the short term, the medium term, and then we'll kind of just talk about the long term. And we'll go into like the state of everything. So yeah, current state of the game, what I'll say is we recognize there's things that are not working right now in the way that they should be. And this is honestly what's good about where we're at right now, is the stuff that's not working is actually some of the more basic game design and some more of the basic game balance. And that's actually probably the most fixable stuff. It's going to be a little painful to get it done in the short term. And there's going to be some changes to the way that you guys play the game in the short term too, as we start to release each of these new updates that patch what is kind of miserable game economy right now. And I'm so harsh on it. It's not in a good spot. We all talk about this. I'm willing to talk openly about what we're seeing inside of the game because you guys are a part of this. You want to see it better. If this was a different gaming company, maybe we wouldn't talk about the game like this. But hopefully what we're trying to do is build a trust between, us and the community that we're going to fix it. The team is motivated. We actually do have a lot in progress. We want to show you that. And then we want to show you kind of the long to medium term of what we're working on too. So some of the discussions today, again, will be short term. Some are kind of long term. Like, we spent a lot of the last week in person with the design team. And we talked a lot about what the next year looks like at Pixels. So things like Chapter 3 and the next sets of features and what we're going to be doing to move that along faster. And we're just going to dive right into that. So yeah, I think the best thing that we can do is maybe if you have anything, Heidi, go into it. Otherwise, I might pull
I
in.
do. I have a few things, and
Okay,
maybe we can go through them quickly. And then this is what made me burst out laughing. Like, what? Okay. And then actually, you guys are so funny today. Someone else, I don't really understand what you're saying. Like, we see you guys change your NFC, so please change your hairstyle. Like, he's grown a full mullet in the last, like, I don't know, 6 months. I actually was with Luke and I vlogged too. It was a really poor vlog though. But anyways, I'll be posting that soon-ish. But I was like trying to ask him if I could like dye his hair purple, or like, then I thought maybe like the mullet part we can do like streaks of purple and green. What do you guys think? Should we vote on it? It'd be so dirty if we did that. Okay, anyways, back to regular things. Okay, so we have a fun event coming tomorrow. We did an event similar to this a few weeks ago, and it's completely run by the community. So this was all organized by the community, by Pixel Cat Guy, Lou, and some others. So huge shout out to Pixel Cat Guy specifically, leader. He's also the person that did the Pixel Chibis and Pixel Cats and all of those collections. So yeah, just such a wonderful person to work with. And so when he came and asked us like, hey, can I start running some of these events, these community-led events? We were just like, absolutely. The first one was insane. 70,000 people came, unbelievable numbers given it's not an energy focused party. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But he did ask like, hey, can we use the caves for an event? And after talking with the design team, we decided it wasn't the best thing to do, just because we are going to be utilizing that space for more Guild Wars type things in the future. But I was like, let's go. I'm going to make a new map. We're going to make a new map. The basement of the Goose is officially opened up to the public, and it has been transformed into the Rave Cave. And so let me share my screen. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah. Let me share my screen, and we can go in. We're going to leak what I leaked a tiny little clip of what this looks like the other day on my Twitter, but we're gonna go. I love it so much. I like specifically asked for some assets from our art team, and they popped off. Okay. Can you see? Here we go. We're in the Goose. There's Luke going the long way around. All right, let's go into the Rave Cave. All right, there's a little bit of a fun path, and then we've got Luke and his dirty mullet right there, and we've got the whole dance floor. So look at how cool this is. I'm so excited. So yeah, it's got some like, if I turn it up, I don't know if you guys can hear.
Nice.
Got some music going on. And yeah, I don't know if I zoom out if it shows much. No, it doesn't. But yeah, so it's gonna be a whole party. It'll be really fun, and we'll reuse this map. So when we do energy parties in the future, we always leave it to the partners. I'm gonna turn this off. I feel like it's really loud. We always leave it to our partners or whoever is hosting the event to decide like what map they want to use. And obviously, the beach is super super popular. The goose used to be the most popular. Someone did one on the football field, but this is also going to be an option. So I have a feeling that this is going to be the new beach. Like I feel like everyone's going to want to choose this map because it's basically exclusively built for raves, for parties. So yeah, I love this
Yeah.
new dance floor so much.
It's like a minor like little fun thing. Like we're this didn't take the team long to do, and this is the stuff that we love to like help facilitate basically. The community is what has been making Pixels really fun lately, especially as we're working on some larger changes. You guys get really creative. Like the creator games that we've seen, like this kind of stuff, we love it. So we're going to help facilitate more of this most likely. If you have something like that, a good idea, post about it on Twitter, get some people to rally about it, and it might happen in game.
Yeah, we actually look, I'm not gonna spill the tea on this one quite yet, but we have another event coming that's like really, really special, hosted by one of I would say Ronan's actually top content creators, has a special life event coming, hosting it in Pixels also. So stuff like that it just makes the community so strong and lovely and exciting. So very, very exciting stuff. Okay, so that's that. And then there was another person asked a good question, and I was gonna like, hold on, there we go. I mean, you wrote it wrong, but I know what you're asking. Am I going to announce the Fox Pixel Pet winners from our OKX quest? And the answer is yes, I am. Okay, so give me 1 second. I've done this in like a very rough rough way. So let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Okay, we have the winners of the Fox Box Quest. Are you guys ready for this? This is like the least like thematic whatever thing I have. Okay. We need like a drum roll. And this is when we need those like effects. You know how some people on like Twitter spaces always have like a button that they press and there's like a drum roll or like a crowd or like something. That's when we need this. We need to step our game up clearly. So let me share. And here we go. Congratulations to the Fox winners. So we got Bosha, Melo, Yohei, I think, Limo, Dello, and Sadness. And I hope this makes you less sad.
Congrats. Yeah, that's a good prize. And then, oh yeah, we had some, yeah, we'll talk more about like the future of pets and some other stuff like that today too. I had talked about that in the Discord yesterday with some people. We'll kind of go over some of those Discord comments and like what we've been talking about there. I think all of this will kind of start to make sense when we show you like short-term roadmap, what we're working on, all the tasks in progress. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Only 5 people can win, but that's what makes the prize good, right?
People are mad. Oh,
that's what we call chase content. And we're talking a lot more about that internally.
Am I live? I think I glitched.
You're good. You're up.
Okay. Now I was just saying every time I post winners, it's like the feedback is like 99% like no, and they're like so mad and post all the mean emojis and all the thing. And you guys are so funny because it's like, yeah, just be happy for them, okay? Be happy for them. Anyways, okay, so that's that. And then what else on the community side? We have an energy party that's still being planned for next week, which should be pretty fun. And then there's other stuff coming next week.
We can't talk about some of it. So I think, oh, yeah, let me actually make sure that's not on here. That's one thing I should not share.
I think it is
Um,
on
yeah,
so let's
I'm seeing that right now.
go through the list. Yeah, I think that's what I got. That's what I got for you guys. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Your local time is posted on Discord and on our calendar on Discord and in game. Um, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Oh, okay. Wait. Can I bring up one more point that's like
Do it
kind of
because I'm
community?
fixing this sheet that we shouldn't
Okay.
be sharing.
Okay. Have you done anything about some of the players from the CZ Guild yet? Okay, so I wanted to address this because when this all came about, there was a lot of slander against the CZ Guild that was really upsetting. And I really stepped up their moderation in that front because I wanted to reiterate that this wasn't CZ Guild's fault. This was individual players making decisions for themselves in their own accounts. And yes, we banned a lot of users that had been using cheats and whatnot. I had an open conversation with the CZ Guild leader who was absolutely distraught by this behavior. And a lot of you, I did see some rough messages directed at the CZ Guild, and that's not okay. Okay. So it wasn't like this whole guild was created to use cheats. Okay. It just happened to be some individuals that were a part of the guild that made poor decisions. Okay. So I just wanted to reiterate that we're all in this together. Okay. So let's move on from this. And yeah, see, like sorry, where is it? This isn't okay. Like, this is not okay. Okay. So let's move on from it. And we're going to have a good time. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Great. All right.
So now what I want to do is I want to give you guys insights into the way that we build a little bit. So before I show you what we're about to show you, I want to kind of explain to you how startups typically build stuff. So how a startup typically builds is they build in a process called sprints or agile. And every company has like a little bit different of a version of this. I have some strong opinions on sprints, the agile processes, and like a lot of the stuff that comes with building in big tech companies. I tend to not like a lot of the processes and a lot of the overhead that might come with building in a certain way like that. Like, for example, if we have something that's broken inside the game, if you were to follow a really agile format, like how big tech companies build out, how it typically works is you have the team assign work every 2 weeks, and then you have the team work on it. You freeze the code after you push it. You spend like a week on QA, and then you release it. So say that there's something major that happens in the game. If you were to stick to a really strict sprint cycle, or an agile method, you wouldn't get a fix out for it in 3 weeks. Now, startups are super chaotic, so sometimes you want organization around all this stuff, but they are generally good, right? We like to break rules, but the thing is, when you are building something, you need to know when to break the rules. We started to do is we actually started to reintroduce some agile or sprint-like processes into our build pipeline and how we build pixels again. We've gone through phases of like getting really tight around how we build, 2-week cycles of development, pushes, all this kind of stuff. We've kind of landed on a bit more loose of a structure. So we're going back to a more formal sprint structure internally. That's some of the work we've been doing in company building, just making sure that now that we have such a large audience, we have to kind of get some better processes in place. But also we want to kind of build in new systems where we can break rules if we need to. But what I'm about to show you here is our sprint schedule. So I'm actually going to show you the work that we have in progress. This is live from like all of our tooling. We use something called Jira to manage a lot of this. We have this new cool thing that we've set up where we have like a very easy dashboard view of all the stuff that we're working on, the status of it, where it's going to go. So we just started reintroducing this about 4 weeks ago. And this is why when you hear me say 2 to 4 weeks, I always say 2 to 4 weeks, because a sprint's supposed to be 2 weeks and you release something after that. But again, we're not going to be so strict on like the 2 to 4 weeks or these timelines. I'm going to show you this, and what you guys have to promise me is that I just want you to look at what we have in progress and the stuff that we're working on. Do not take the timelines too seriously. That's my ask to you guys. So you can see what we've been doing. You can see when we started it. You can see how long it took us. And you can also see the different things that we're working on, but this is not a promise of when it's going to come out, right? But it'll give you more visibility into the way that we've been prioritizing what we're building. and it'll give you more visibility into the things that we're thinking about. So like one concrete example that I can like give you guys is, for example, we have chapter 3 that we like have already started speccing out the designs on, and we already kind of have a good idea of what we want chapter 3 to look like. Now, again, it can change, but that's not included in this sprint cycle, right? So this sprint cycle and these 2 sheets that I'm about to show you are basically what we're going to be working on in the short term. So we want to get out fixes to game economy, and we want to get out fixes to how the game plays right now, because that's the most broken part. We talked about Operation Unrug Landowners and all of these other things. What I'm about to show you are the things that we think that we need to do first before we can start to do things like add in more content around, animal care and apiaries and winemaking, for example. Like, we basically don't want to create new content for a system that's inherently broken. So this is all the stuff that's broken that we're going to be fixing that I'm going to show you. And you also get to see kind of the stuff we've been working on in the background, what got done, what got shipped. It's going to be an interesting way to like maybe also keep us accountable too. But again, this is a rough estimate. We're still kind of refining what's here. So don't come to me in like 2 weeks and be like, why isn't this out yet? Or like, I thought you guys said you were working on this, but 4 weeks later, we haven't done it. Sometimes things change, right? Like, that's what you have to also accept when you're building in public or with community too. Because what we actually might find is we fix one thing and it uncovers a bunch of other stuff. Or we might realize that this is actually not the right solution and we have to prioritize something else. So here, I'm going to share this sheet, and I'm going to, share with you what we worked on last sprint. So basically the last 2 weeks. You'll notice when I share the next sheet, some of the stuff is going to roll over into these next 2 weeks. And again, I'm not going to make any guarantees or promises on like when exactly this stuff will release to you all, but you can see what's in progress. So here we go. This is the right sheet. So we just did our second sprint in this new system last week. And here's some of the stuff you can see that we're working on. So you want some context into how we've been building and how we've been working. One thing that we had to do and spend some time on last week was to really sit down, collect all the user feedback on where chapter 2 is. And then we had to actually get some concrete stuff out to go and develop. So here's what we worked on the last 2 weeks. We talked about this a bit in the AMAs before, but this is the stuff that we started, and then we're also moving it into the next sprint. We started working on segmented leaderboards. We started working on redesigning the first time user experience. We started working on a second live ops event. Guild taskboard is in progress and getting worked on. That was a leak. The next one. We started building out player segmentation. It's already on the internet now. It's too late. Okay, well, that's an announcement. We're launching something in the Telegram ecosystem, most likely. And yeah, we've been trying not to talk about that, but I guess that's the announcement here. Yeah, so I guess we can maybe dive into that a little bit later too, like what we're doing there, what the plan is. There's some cool stuff that we have ready for that. We have like a new casual game that we've been working on in the Telegram ecosystem. Wasn't trying to leak that yet, but here, this is building in public at its finest, right? So you get to see that visibility into all of this. We have been working on something that we call out player segments. And there's some really, really cool stuff that we're doing there. So Pixels has been putting emphasis on getting more data-driven. I see a lot of comments on like what we're doing about cheaters and bots and all of this kind of stuff. What I can talk to you about with player segmentation is this is what we think is going to be the real solution to some of the cheater and bot problems that we have. What we're doing is we're getting a lot better at data collection and understanding the data that we need to better identify people who are cheaters, bots, or people who are participating in like bad ways inside of the ecosystem. So if I want to give an example, right, like we can kind of get a better idea of like experience velocity. So if somebody is gaining experience at a very unusual rate, we can put a flag on that account. And we might even be able to do things like change the amount of coin tasks that they earn and change the amount of pixel tasks that they earn. We just did our first piece of this last week, and we actually went live with this last week. So it says in progress on this spreadsheet. But we actually got some of this done last week, where we introduced a new tag for some bot prediction, where we actually cut out a lot of bot prediction, or we cut out a lot of bot earnings through data science now. And that's a difference. What we did when we first released chapter 2 was we said, hey, we want to start to do better targeted earnings, right? So if you become a higher level, we're going to give you more earnings. Now what we have is actually a much better data set to see, okay, how can we actually stop bots or bad actors or cheaters from getting earnings now? And we're collecting more data and like better tells of how we might be able to do that. First change went live last week. A lot of you started seeing more high level pixel tasks and more like 20, 40 pixel tasks, right? It's because of this, because now we stop the bots from draining a lot of that pool. The other thing that we started working on is some more bot detection improvements. And there's a couple things that we do with bot detection. There's the faucet side of things. There's also the prevention side of things. Like, how can we actually make it so that the bot doesn't even get into the game? And it makes it really, really hard for them, even if they spin up like, you know, anti-detect browsers, they have like captcha solvers, all of this. How can we make it so that it's way more difficult to even like connect to the game? We are working and improving on stuff there. That got done, if you see on this tab, but we're probably pushing it in the next release. This should probably go live in the next like week or 2 weeks, but I'm not saying timelines anymore.
So you just did.
I feel more confident when it's in staging or like it's already getting tested.
I was just like reading something else and I heard 2 to 4 weeks. And I
said 1 to 2 that time. We've been working on a new partnership. We've been talking to some of the people in the dev community. We've been working on like item durability tech. We've been thinking about short-term game balance. And then we started speccing out some new reputation stuff. So this is all the stuff that we did in the last 2 weeks or started working on. And now if you go to this next sprint, 2.03, this is the stuff that we have set for these next 2 weeks. So if you notice, some of the stuff in the last sprint is now in this one. So this is why I'm not saying 2 to 4 weeks, because
I'm sorry, so Amina doesn't usually throw shade like this. So
yeah. Well, hey, this is our basically, yeah, this is our attempt at getting some more transparency into like the exact stuff that we're working on. So it's not just me saying 2 to 4 weeks or like, it's not just me saying like, this is like maybe something we're doing. These are the exact things that we're working on. Again, they finish when they finish. So if you look, some of these are still in progress at the end of the last 2 weeks. We move them over to this next sprint, 2.03, and that's what's making it on here. So you can see that some of the stuff we've been talking about, like item durability, the engine work is done, but now we actually have to go and do the implementation. We're still working on that second live ops event. We're still building out player segmentation. So that's player segmentation, for example, is one that's probably going to take us like, we're getting it out piece by piece. It's probably going to be something that we're doing for the next 2 months as we get more and more data or better tells on, you know, good users, bad users, like who we want to start rewarding, who we don't want to reward. But then we also, because of the time that we had in person last week, we have a lot more things that are more actionable for us to start working on. This is kind of the stuff that we'll go through. So we have all the stuff that was still in progress last week. We've added new stuff. So here, it looks like a lot. And our game design team has a lot on their hands. But they have like a lot more confidence in the stuff that we need to be working on too. After we've been talking to you guys, they were actually even on like some of the community calls last week, getting some like direct feedback from users. And they had some time to sit down and actually think about like what's going to be like the things that we need to do to fix current state of game economy. And this is the kind of stuff that we're thinking about. So we're working on more chase content and content siloing. That is kind of like a technical game design term, but basically the key thing here that we're thinking about are what are things besides pixel that are fun to earn inside of the game? Like what are things we can start to introduce as rewards for things like live ops events and things like even in the taskboard that you guys might want to earn that aren't just necessarily pixel rewards. Having more of this type of content is like actually a really good way to sync pixel, right? It's something else besides pixel that you might want to use pixel to go after. For example, a pet is a great example. The chase content for that OKX quest was this new OKX fox pet, right? And maybe that's actually what we're thinking about for pet minting in the future. Rather than doing direct pet mints, it actually probably makes more sense to have them as chase content inside of the game or something for you to earn. So, you know, if you're a free-to-play player, if you're like a normal type of pixels player, you have like something to aspire to get rather than like, I don't know, I think just paying money to mint something's kind of lame, right? And that might be like the prize in the next thing, like a guild war or something like that, right? It's like cool content that we can think of for you guys to go and chase after that isn't directly pixel related, but you might need pixel to get it. Another good example of that is like when we start to get more industries inside of the game, We did this with apiaries. We did this with wineries at one point. Once we get some of the short-term game balance fixed, we can start to introduce more content. That's the kind of stuff we want to start to think about there as well. So we have more live ops events coming. We're getting some stuff out. That's on here. The team is implementing more coin syncing features. A lot of the team's focus right now is around coins. This is like the base of the game economy problems that we're trying to fix, basically. So before we can start to add in new industries, before we can start to like add in content around pet care and all this kind of stuff, we have to fix some of the coin inflation inside of the game. There's a bunch of different things we need to think about with that. So there's basically 2 to 3 approaches that we're thinking. One is we need to make it so that coins are a bit more useful and that they're sunk more inside of the game. We need to offer you ways to purchase coins inside of the game with Pixel. We need to introduce new reputation specs too, and we're going to kind of rework reputation and how that works inside of the game. So reputation right now, it's really kind of dumb. There's more things that we can start to add that are common sense inside the reputation system. And we've even been floating around some things like dynamic reputation. So dynamic reputation will be really interesting if we do that, where if your reputation decays, if you're like not as active, or if your reputation decreases when you do like a ton of trades to a feeder account, we can maybe start to decrease the reputation of like some of the bot accounts and make it so that it's more expensive to give away coins to a user if you have low reputation. Things like this, like these are the things that we're starting to implement now. That is a little bit tied with this historical transaction checks epic that we're working on. One thing that we're going to do is make some changes to the marketplace. That's how some bots have been getting around the reputation requirements for trading and trade balance. So you might start to see us remove some items from the marketplace transparently. It might not be super popular, but it closes a lot of the holes in the exploits. And then this is one that you guys have been asking for a ton. This is actually, if I was to prioritize this, I would probably, we have actually been talking about moving this up to top of priority. And it is internally, is what I'll say. This is the one thing that the game designers are working on right now. It is rebalancing the taskboard.
Okay,
Yeah.
pause. It's funny to make fun of Luke for doing this if some of you guys are being a little mean. So don't be mean, okay?
No, hey, this is like, again, so I'm not even going to say 2 to 4 weeks on this stuff, right? Like this is all the stuff that's in progress the team is working on, and it gets out when it gets out. We're trying, why we do these sprint systems and why I'm showing you this is because we're trying to get better at prediction on when things get done ourselves. That's one thing that we've been historically not so good at. We were not even doing some of this tracking recently because, you know, sometimes we're just like, screw it. We know what to do. We know what we got to build. Now we're trying to get a bit more organized so we can get better at actually giving you guys accurate timelines. This is normally not something that you're supposed to share with people. I'm kind of breaking rules when I do that. And I'm only sharing this with you all because I hope we have that trust of understanding that this stuff is in progress. It is getting worked on. It might come soon. It might come later. It depends on how long it takes the team, right? But this is the prioritization of the stuff that we're working on. So you can start to see we're working on these specific things. We're working on coin inflation. We're working on taskboard rebalance. We're working on XP and items. We're working on taskboard. And then if we start to share this more consistently, one, we're going to get a better feel of how long it takes us to do stuff. Two, you're going to start to see stuff is moving. You also see all the other random stuff that we do every single week. The team is busy and working. The team does not sit around and just do nothing and talk about like pixels all day. Like the team is really, really busy with IC work and getting all of this done. This is a very big sprint. But yeah, so taskboard, that's one of the key player complaints right now, especially around cooking tasks. We had our team look at the taskboard and where it's at, the state of it. How we're going to approach the taskboard rebalance is we're going to do it in basically probably 2 steps. We're going to fix the things that you guys are complaining about right now around cooking. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to basically probably have to do a whole rework of the taskboard. And it kind of ties in with XP and item rebalances. So One thing that doesn't make sense inside of the game right now is just the progression of XP and the progression of like the things that you have to build to level up inside of the game. And we have to kind of rework some of that. So there's a lot of stuff that we've been designing around that. And again, with all of this stuff, just this stuff here to here, the game, once we get this done, is going to play really different. The meta of the game is going to feel different. Some of you might not like it at first. And this is all stuff that we have to do to make the game right. So we have to fix the game economy. We have to fix some of the inflation issues. We have to create resource scarcity. And these are the things that we're prioritizing first. And then we'll probably go through the next stuff after that. So, we can't fix some of the tier 3 and the tier 4 and the land surplus issues until we get this under control. So those will come in the next couple of sprints after we do these, right? Or whenever these are done, we'll start to put these into the sprints essentially. And then, some other cool stuff that we're working on in addition to that is we're building out new leaderboard tech. So one of the things that you guys liked about Guild Wars was the leaderboards. Some of the stuff that you guys didn't like was how non-competitive the leaderboards felt if you didn't have a chance. So we did some leaderboard segmentation with the Guild Wars where we put you into brackets, right? So there was a small bracket, a medium bracket, and a large bracket for the Guild Wars leaderboard. What we're going to start to do is we're actually going to start to do that on an individual level. So we're actually going to start to create a new leaderboard system where you're kind of match made with like a bunch of other people of a similar skill level to you inside of the game. And you'll maybe be competing with like 10 to 20 people. If you play the game like Raid or Monopoly Go, or really any free to play game, this is what they all do. And that way we can start to give out more prizes and more rewards for people who are competitive with, people who play about the same amount as them. Grinders compete with grinders in those leaderboards. Casual players compete with casual players. And then we can still add a global leaderboard with grand prizes for you like crazy grind types of people. And then, this is below this, all the other stuff that is rolling into this sprint is what you would call it. So we're still working on some of the taskboard segmentation. We're working on new live ops events. We're working on DFP improvements, like some of the stuff that we're doing around the bot prevention. We're working on a new partnership. We're working on a new game in another ecosystem. We're rebuilding reputation. We're still doing some of the data stuff. And then, item durability should be coming soon. So that is such a granular, fine, detailed view of what we're working on. We'll see how this goes. I wanted to try this out. Maybe we don't go into so much depth next time, or maybe what we do next week is we show you, hey, this is the stuff that we have. It's going to be the same exact sheet that I show you because you do this on like a 2 to 3 week cadence, right? And you'll get to see what's moved and what hasn't. So, I'll also get feedback from the team. What I don't want to do is I don't want to put too much pressure on the team. And again, I'm showing all of you guys this sprint worksheet or this sprint spreadsheet with the acknowledgement that, I'm not going to guarantee timelines around when this is going to get done. But we have a lot of enthusiasm. We know what to do in a much better way than before. And I hope this gives you some transparency into some of the ways that we're prioritizing stuff. So
okay,
I hope that helps.
I know people say weird things about us a lot and I ignore it, but someone just asked about your feet and what? Really? Okay. Luke likes to walk barefoot everywhere. So just
I do walk barefoot. Yeah, they're gross. You don't want to see them.
Okay, we have so many questions. So I'm gonna whip through a few here. Okay, I owed this person and another creator, Lou, actually, stickers. I finally mailed them out yesterday, so good for me. I'm sorry it took so long. And no, do not steal my dog. Okay, let's see. Where can we find the third-party tooling guidelines? So we actually have a group chat open on our Discord for developers specifically. We didn't publicize this obviously because there are very few users that would be involved, but if you think you should be involved in that, please reach out to a community team member, and the guidelines are in there. Technically we could just share the link also. But yeah, okay, how do I become a Pixels content creator? So once again, go on our Discord, write !creator, and the link will pop up, and you just have to submit the form to apply. And then our creator team, I think they go through them on a weekly cadence or something like that. And so you should get accepted pretty quickly if you're a creator. And yeah, fun stuff in there. They're actually doing like a creator specific little event this weekend for creating videos, like guidance videos for pixels. So they do some pretty cool stuff. Okay. So I think that this one was in relation to when we were talking about like the different kinds of things that we can look at, reputation, whatever. But I wanted to bring up this one specifically because I wanted to talk about the fact that, like, let's say me or a creator or like an account that's like really fortified, medium to high level, all of those sorts of things, higher reputation or whatever. If I'm trading with a bunch of accounts that have low levels, that's pretty normal, right? But if there's a bunch of accounts with low levels trading and giving me things, that screams bot farm, right? So, example. Okay.
Yeah, there's ways to actually like pretty easily identify the difference by data as well, I'll say. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we're working on. So like some of the stuff that we've been doing, you'll see on the segmentation task is we're grabbing a bunch of different pieces of data, things like, you know, XP velocity, how much XP you've been earning in a short time, combined with like account age, combined with like a whole bunch of different things. Like you can basically, it's not necessarily a linear relationship, but you can do like really easy ML or like machine learning models on this kind of stuff and get some pretty easy rule sets to kind of flag this stuff if that makes sense. So we've been getting better at the data collection side of things, and now we're finally getting to move on to the insights, and we have people managing this too. There's some cool stuff. So when we talk about bot prevention inside of Web3 gaming, it's a really complicated issue, and I'm so glad there's other games out and live now that are finally dealing with this too, because we got all the heat on it. We were doing the most work in the space on it. This is probably what Pixels has invested the most time and energy into, because it's actually a key problem inside of Web3 gaming that you have to solve for. And this is actually some of the core technology in Web3 in general. So Web3 is all about incentive design and incentive alignment. And in order to pull this all off, you actually have to do a really good job of user identification. You have to understand who your users are and what they're doing inside of your ecosystem very well if you want to actually align behavior in the right ways. So the first thing that you have to identify, is this user even a real user? There's more work that you have to do after that, because there can be real users that actually aren't very good for your ecosystem. Like, for example, people who just like, you know, create a toxic environment inside of the game. Like if you're talking a lot of trash inside of Pixels, not that we're looking at your chat messages or anything like that. But like, that's an example of like, if you were to come into a community, like what would be bad for a community, right? There's other things inside the game too that would be bad. And we're basically looking at data to kind of help identify like who the best users are inside of the game, who help like make Pixels a better spot for more people who want to come in. And you need good data science to be able to do that. So a lot of the work that we're doing there, essentially. But yeah, one of the key issues and some of the stuff that's like quite interesting that we're doing.
I'm just going to bring this up because I feel like it'll make you upset that you're not in New Zealand.
No, I'm not. I know. So I started originally growing a mullet because I was living in New Zealand like a while ago. This is the second time I grew a mullet out, and I was living in a really bogan area, and I just wanted to be accepted by all the bogans, and it worked. They took me in as one of their own after I grew the mullet.
Okay. And also, I just joined Telegram. Amazing. So I did pin it to the top of the live chat on YouTube if you want the direct link. But we did leak some pretty big stuff there. So that group is going to be bumping pretty soon here. I think we were at hold on. We were at 1,500 members this morning. Yeah, we're still around 1,500. So
yeah, all I'll say is like if you join our Telegram groups, you probably want to, because you'll see some of the new stuff first. And there might be some rewards in there at some point. So yeah, join their Telegram groups, start to fill that out. You don't want to miss that one. It'll be cool. It'll be fun.
Okay, go on.
I want to bring this up before we like even get to any time. So why are there so many cooking tasks showing up on my task board? I'm avoiding cooking right now. Yeah, so again, the highest priority inside of the game right now is we're trying to get something out ASAP. I don't want to say the date because I'm trying to move away from that, but it is highest priority to basically fix this cooking task issue right now, because this is what we hear so many complaints about. And it also just isn't balanced in the right way at all. We have somebody new taking over the balance of the task board. So we're going to go with some different approaches than what exists in the game right now. There's a lot of work to do there as well. We can probably piece it out is what we're thinking. So we're going to try to get the cooking fixes out first, because that's what you guys hate the most. And then what we've been talking about is actually like changes to how the task board works in general. I think one thing that we've been talking about, which seems like it's not going to be too high of a complexity to do it, is basically breaking down task board by categories even more. So different slots for specific types of tasks, like 3 slots for cooking tasks, 3 slots for farming tasks, 3 slots for mining tasks, stuff like that. I think that's a general direction that we want to move towards that. So you'll have the choice to do it or not. But if you haven't been cooking, you might want to cook if you want to get more access to those slots. Yeah, it's there's a lot of work to do there, as well. I'll say. So some of the stuff that we're doing, like there's big changes that we need to make that are they're going to take a little bit longer than a couple of days for some of these things, and all these things kind of have a mesh together too. Of like when we change one thing, it's going to change this and change this. So we have to roll out some of it together. But the team is working on it. I promise.
Okay. Okay. This isn't true. KOLs using their power to ban genuine players. Majority of our KOLs do not have these sorts of tooling. I know there are a few of our moderators that are also content creators, but trust me, we have like a pretty strong process of making sure we're choosing people that are trustworthy, and they are well aware that if they abuse their power, that they will be removed and or banned. So that's just yeah, I just wanted to flag that one. Okay. Oh yeah, so we won an award, which is so magical, for the most impactful Web3 project, I think, company, period. Not just game, just company, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you to everyone, truly. We wouldn't be here without you. Okay, let's get into some more in-depth questions.
So we answered this already. When new pet minting, I think our strategy is going to shift here. Rather than doing straight up pixel mints for pets, it's kind of lame. We're going to start introducing them in some of the live ops events and maybe some new mechanics too. That's what we call chase content. So we're building out a better library of chase content. So once we start to fix some of the game balance, we can do things like start to introduce new industries also, and only give them out for limited time for limited events, right? Like what works really well inside of games like this is rarity, scarcity, and like limited time offerings of certain things. And pets are a really good example of something that we've done with that already that works kind of well. So that's like our first piece of chase content. That's the easiest for us to pull. So I think what we're going to move towards is we're going to do more like play to earn pets rather than having you mint them. That's the general thought.
Someone keeps talking about hair oil, and I'm very confused. Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so that's add improved tools as chase content. I want more efficient tools, tradable for pixels. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that we're thinking about too. What I'll say is like some of the chase content that the game design team has been talking about a lot is things like boosts. So like 5% more mining efficiency, or even like temporary boosts too. Like for example, if you had a potion that doubled your XP for a little bit, or a potion that like doubled your efficiency, like there's some cool stuff that we can do there too. So that's the kind of stuff they've been thinking about a lot.
Okay, some people keep asking about the carnival. So the carnival is one of like a live ops events that, so okay, I've talked about this a few times, so I won't spend too much time on it, but we are like really legitimizing how we structure and approach live ops events. So this is actually something that we've become very well known for in the space, which is our live ops events, right? Which is like the community-led event tomorrow, or energy parties, or as big as Guild Wars, or other spec, or like our partnerships, the CyberCongs event, the Mochaverse, like all of those, we become really well known for them, and they're great, but they don't always tie together or tie back to the game well, or all of that. So we actually have moved someone on our team, Tyler, who you guys are probably familiar with, into a full-time live ops role, along with hiring, some people that are really, really good at monetization and live ops also. So we're really growing like a team around this. It used to be something that we would do as like a bit of a side event. Now it's like a part of our structure of our team. So we have a full-time team member on it, along with some others. I'm always super involved in them as well. I love live ops. It's like my favorite thing ever. So the carnival is going to be reformatted and reused to for a live ops event. Now, yes, Luke did do what he is no longer doing and giving a timeline about a carnival event coming maybe like a few months ago. But since we've been, really diving into live ops, restructuring all of that, we've started coming up with some other games that will probably come out before the carnival. But the carnival is going to come eventually. I think we leaked, was it last week or like the week before, we leaked how many game tickets there are in game. There's like 600 million or something like that. So when it comes to balance, we really will have to think hard on how we're going to balance those tickets. I will say the games were botted. This was like a year ago now, but the games were definitely botted, and most of those bots have been banned. And that 600 million number does also include the botted accounts that were banned. So it's much less than that. But anyways, I digress. Carnival will be coming in coming months, but I think there's going to be some other fun events before that.
People keep asking for tier 5. So I think general, just to fill you in, this is not confirmed. This is not like, this is not gospel. Don't take my word for this. Is what we're thinking about for chapter 3 is we're thinking a lot about like what we're building out. We spec'd out like a caverns, caves, dungeons feature. And I think that's the direction that we're going to go for that. Now, when we think about what the rewards are, we still like the idea of contestable lands or like competing for a land. That's something that like the game designer we brought on recently is a really big fan of. I can't give you like an idea of like if that's going to be with chapter 3 or not. That's generally the direction we want to. I know in the original specs of how we designed stuff, we wanted chapter 5 to be available only via, or tier 5 to only be available via like contestable lands. Basically, we did like a Guild Wars event, for example, and you won the Guild Wars. The guild who wins it gets the like, tier 5 land that has like the tier 5 resources, and that's the only way to get it. We'll probably do a similar approach when we think about tier 5 with that. What we don't want to do yet is we don't want to like basically inflate every resource. We're going to try to fix what we have first and then think about the new content after.
Okay. Okay, we already answered a bunch of these questions. You got to unpin them.
Slowly but surely, this game is running into MMORPG. Yeah, so I will say this is a good point and something to bring up. Yeah, I think that is the direction we started heading towards in chapter 2, more like MMORPG. And one thing I don't think that we've nailed is the cozy vibes are actually what a lot of you came for and really like. And I do think that's probably what we need to start reintroducing. Stuff that's more casual, more friendly, and more cozy, rather than grind, compete type of energy too, right? Because that's actually kind of a niche that we have inside of Web3 right now. And that's why, one, a lot of our audience is like a lot of women. It's actually a pretty unique thing inside of Web3 right now to have like such a female-dominated audience inside of Pixels, and it's actually one of our superpowers. It's like I think this is how you onboard normies. Women are actually a way larger audience of gamers than like most men. They dominate the mobile and casual game industry.
Let's go.
You're actually kind of the people to build for in this case, I think.
Oh yeah, I get super addicted to mini games for sure. Sophia's also on our team, so there you go. Okay, let's see.
Wait, this is a great question.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's some tea. We went horseback riding last week, and I rode horses like a little bit when I was a kid.
Heidi was like, "Oh yeah, I went to a horse summer camp. I did a backflip off of a horse before, but I don't really have any horse riding experience."
Yeah, it turns out I had more than the rest of the team, but we still gave Luke the difficult horse because he's like the adventurous one. Anyways, I think that was a lie though, because my horse was the one that gave me the most trouble, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like normal.
The guy that took us on the horse back riding trip, when we were doing like a little bit of team bonding stuff, he was like, "Guys, I have a suggestion for your company. You need to add horses to the game." And we promised.
No, this man, guys, was the sweetest angel. And he said, actually, he said that, but his core message was like, we need to get people interested in preserving nature. and being one with nature. And he was like, if you can implement that messaging in your game, then you can teach the masses. And we were just like, I wish you could see Pixels right now, because it definitely has that nature vibe to it. But it was so, so lovely. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's back to the question.
Where the tractor? We did okay. So we made a promise when we hit 1 million DAU. I'm going to say 1 million real DAU is when we start to give out the Lambo tractor. We'll do that. I actually do want to start experimenting with some more like fun growth marketing soon. So right now, where Pixels is at, somebody also asked like a question of like, how do you feel the game is right now? Like, where do you think the where do you think the state of the game is? Like, I think this is a good question too. Why is the project communication so scattered? Some info's in game, some's on X. Now you're moving different info to Telegram. Some is shared by content creators.
Can I say that this is actually something that I have absolutely noticed and flagged and intend to improve on. I think the path we're going to take is something similar to like YGG and Axie, and having like a Substack that kind of has all of our source of truth information on it. But let me know what you guys like, if you're familiar with stuff like that. But that I think is the best way for us to go, because we post an announcement on Twitter and then we retweet 10 things. So even if you come to our page, you might not see the announcement unless we pin it. Yeah, we hear you.
Well, the point I was trying to make was like, you guys are still in an experimental phase with us, right? Like, we're still in the area of Web3 gaming where, there's still some key things that we're trying to figure out about Web3 gaming and how to make it work. I think we have a pretty good idea now. Like, what we think that we need to do is we need to start introducing like a few new monetization mechanics. We need to fix some of the game economy. It's harder to fix a Web3 game economy than a Web2 one, even because you have people trying to break it 10x more than a Web2 game economy, because it's, because of the ownership aspect, right? So there's things about making a Web3 game that are just inherently harder that we're cracking the issues on. To me, it seems like more of an execution risk now than like, do we know what to do risk? But until we do that, we need to solve these issues. And then after we do that, we need to get the game into a place where we can start to scale into a Web2 audience. So we haven't put the emphasis that we need to on the Web2 audience yet for that reason. But if we are comparing ourselves to a Web2 game, when we need to grow, when we need to like learn all this kind of stuff, like all of that stuff, the communication, the tutorials, the content, it needs to be really, really obvious how to do it in the game immediately. We're not up to that yet. And I just don't think we've needed to be until now. But in the next probably like 6 months is when we'll start to do a really big push. After we fix some of the core game issues, we add in some new game mechanics. We get this, like the metrics that we're looking at, retention, ARPU, like all the traditional Web2 game metrics in the spot that we want it to be. That's when we'll start to do the next growth push. And that's when all of those things need to be really dialed in, because you guys are enthusiasts inside of Web3. You guys really like play to earn. You guys give us a lot more grace than a Web2 gamer would. Like some Web2 gamers, even getting them to install an app is really hard. They install an app, they see an ad, or there's one tiny little thing they don't like about the game, immediate uninstall, immediately in the trash. They never play the game. They're a little ruthless. It's funny because I think the reputation of Web3 gamers that you guys are like, very hard on games. I don't think that's the case, because we mess up a lot and you guys are still here. And in Web2 games, they just lose attention immediately. And it's such a competitive market where they kind of have to fight for it in a different way than we do. Not to like, Web3 gaming is still not competitive yet. Basically, if you build something interesting, people generally tend to find it out. Like I saw Sage from Kurora Beast today in the AMA. Shout out to him. He's building some cool stuff. And it's one of those places where like, if you are actually building, you're actually like a good, player in the space, you'll start to get attention. Like, I really like what they're doing on Telegram. We're probably going to, take some of their inspiration for our stuff there. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. So we know there's a lot to change. I hope this AMA gave you guys some visibility into like what the things are being prioritized in the short term. And again, this is just the short-term stuff that we're doing. There's longer-term stuff that we're working on. There's medium-term stuff that we're working on too. Again, the high level is short-term, fix some of the inflation issues, fix some of the economy issues. Medium-term, start to introduce more content specifically around like land ownership and some of the progression. Long-term is new game mechanics, things like dungeons, caverns. And then we're also working on some acquisitions too. We talked a little bit about what our chapter 3 plan is too. Maybe just to end the AMA, I can give you some visibility into that. So we basically scoped out what we want to do inside of chapter 3. Now the question is, how do we get this built and do all this other stuff in a timely manner? There's kind of 3 things that we're debating right now. It's either we build it in engine, we go and contract out another studio to work with us to kind of augment it, or we do some acquisitions to kind of get the game mechanics that we want inside of our game even quicker. So we'll kind of update you guys on what that looks like. There's some cool stuff in the space right now. And the Pixels Foundation is actually in like a pretty interesting spot where that is probably an option to do an acquisition or two over the next like 3 to 4 months. We've been scoping out some stuff. We've been talking to some people. We're in a cool spot in the market where it's actually like pretty attractive for these companies to get acquired if they don't feel like they're on a good track to launch a token, any of this kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We can round it out there. There were a few questions. Actually, hold on. I know we talked so long from the stuff, so let's just whip through. Okay, so speaking of rough users, this person has been extremely rude in chat, so I just wanted to finally address you. Do we think you're stupid? No. Milestone rewards were already sent out, and they went to your mailbox as announced in all of our announcements. So check your mailbox in-game. If you didn't get them, you probably didn't win. And
yeah, I saw another mean comment too. Sad to say you're losing your grip. Check out your DAU. Actually, DAU's been increasing week by week. Real DAU, real traffic to the website. There are some things I'm like seeing where I'm like, red flags. Like it looks like some of our retention metrics are down from where they were. If you want to look at chapter 2 DAU, I can share this right now. And then if you want to look at like external data, you can look at things like similar web traffic, all of this kind of stuff. The chapter 2 DAU is still increasing pretty consistently. And yeah, if I was going to show a red flag, the thing that's like making me a little nervous is some of the VIP sales are going down a little bit inside of chapter 2. There's some reasons for that. And that's what a lot of the stuff that we're working on with reputation, with like closing out some of the coin OTC side of things and having Pixel be used to purchase coins and fixing some of the inflation issues are supposed to address. And then we've actually had some pretty positive notes on that too. Like for example, again, really big deal. Our last live ops event, the Guild Wars event, was a profitable event. We actually made more pixel or burned more pixel in that event than we gave out in rewards. And there's some more cool stuff like that we have planned that's even like better. So overall, I would say that we're on actually a pretty good trajectory. One thing to watch out for actually is we're going to put a Q2, the foundation is going to put out a Q2 financial report on how we've done in Q2 on Binance pretty soon, on Binance Square. So go check that out when we have it. It'll come out soon. I'm prepping it now for the foundation, but you'll get to see some of the stats, the performance, and how we performed. All I'll say is, yeah, if you actually look at our revenue, our DAU stats compared to rest of the market performance in Q2, I'm pretty optimistic about where we're at. But that said, there's still a lot that we need to do. Like we still haven't solved the fundamentals of what we're working on. There's a lot of things that we need to change about like the current game status. But yeah, if it seemed doomed, I would be out already. And it seems pretty positive.
Okay, I love this idea, like a message to your land users tool or something. It'd be really pretty fun if you had like a billboard that at least maybe had a hover over it that you could like put a small message in. I like this idea. We definitely don't have anything like this built out, but I would say please add it to Canny, our feedback system, a feature request system, because I love that. And then I think we can just end it off here with this message, which I just love so much. I would love to meet and be friends with everyone in Pixels. This is the worst part about having such an international community. But I will say, Luke and I will be going to the YGG event in the Philippines in November. And then there's also a Binance Blockchain Week event in Dubai in October that we will be at. I think Luke is also going to be in Singapore in a few weeks. So there's some IRL events coming up that we will be at when Pixels convention. Man, that would be really fun. But like, where would we have it? I don't even know.
I mean, let's talk about what we do at the YGG Games Summit. I think there's gonna be a lot of Pixels players there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we should get a petting farm or something. Petting zoo.
No, because no.
Okay.
Maybe. It's just like me trying to source a petting farm. in the Philippines from Canada sounds like a. Anyways, all right.
Okay, here's the ask. If anyone in the Philippines watching this maybe owns like an alpaca farm or something, like I know sometimes you can rent alpacas. Let us know. That would be cool at least.
Alpacas in the Philippines. Like, is that even?
I'm sure I bet somebody's gonna respond to us being like, I own 6 llamas. I own.
Okay, you guys are crazy. Let's just do a little VIP giveaway. Okay, we're gonna do this again like we've done this before, and hopefully the same person doesn't win it again. Although I haven't seen them in chat because they're generally negative, and I haven't seen them. So let's do that again. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm flipping it up. I'm flipping it up. Okay, bring back Sophia. Sophia never left. Anyways, congratulations. We'll get you a 3-month VIP coupon. Let's see if you're the same on. Yeah, you are the same person on Discord. So congratulations. Okay. And they're gonna see that and be like, why is Heidi saying congrats to me? Because I stopped watching the AMA halfway through. Anyways, okay, I think we can end it there. Thank you guys. You guys are great. The vibes are high. We love it. Okay, and then a couple people asking about the VIP that Luke is supposed to be giving away. So that's on his shoulders.
Yes. So if you joined Warpcast, you follow us on the Pixels Warpcast or on Farcaster. I'll go through that today or tomorrow and send out some VIPs too. I'll message you on there from the @Pixels account.
Someone was just like, Heidi, you left the energy on. I'm like, I'm still talking. Aren't you watching? Okay, I'm sorry. We can stop. We can stop. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone.